Welcome to Alien Theorists Theorizing, Case File 42, Flat Earth 2.
Flat Earth Round 2.
I'm Braden.
I'm Zell.
And today we have a very special guest with us. You want to introduce yourself?
I'm Dave from Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, a podcast that ran for 3 years. That ran its course. Now my YouTube channel is DITRH, stands for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, if I could speak. And most of the stuff I address is Flat Earth related, and we'll get into that today.
So
awesome.
We're getting right into it. No space news, no other news, just Flat Earth. So Dave, first question, where do we begin? What got you down? What started this journey for you? What captivated you?
So every Flat Earther has the exact same story, and that story is somebody mentioned Flat Earth to them, and they said, that's nonsense. I'm not looking at anything. For 6 months, I had listeners sending me Flat Earth stuff. I refused to watch even a 2-minute video. I banned people from our social media, and I insulted them. I called them names, and I laughed at them, just like you guys do. I don't get mad at people for doing that because I was one of them. And then I refused. And one day, a prominent researcher said, "Hey, Dave, you got to look into this." And I looked, and I watched one video, and I watched another, and I watched another. And I said, you know what? I'm going to debunk this. For 2 weeks straight, I dug in, and I came out the other side knowing that we don't live on a spinning ball. The spinning ball is what is completely ridiculous. Before we go into this a little deeper, we're going to hit so many different tangents that you guys, you're not going to know which one to take. But I want to point something out. You guys have a cool podcast. I've been listening to a couple episodes. It's growing. You guys have lots of interesting ideas. But what if I told you that every single thing you guys talk about is not real?
We're out of business.
We're out of business.
No. See, that's where you're wrong. That's where you're wrong. Because I used to talk about the same things you guys talk about. You are literally poised to change your opinion based on new information and then reach the fastest growing, strongest, committed audience there is out there. Flat Earth is going to be mainstream soon, and you guys will be poised to be leading that charge.
Or when everyone turns Flat Earth, we'll be the two guys left doing the round Earth conspiracy.
Yeah, we'll be. We'll
that's
turn the
going to be a
tables.
lonely show, my friend. Lonely show.
You'll have two listeners.
Yeah.
My mom and my dad, maybe sometimes.
The right now, it's in your favor because you mentioned Flat Earth to just Joe on the street, and they're just going to do what I did. They're going to laugh at you, and they're not going to listen. And they're going to throw words out like gravity, science, calculations, Neil deGrasse Tyson. But it's all nonsense. So I'll leave it up to you guys. You ask me a question, I'll answer it. We'll go from there, see where it takes us.
Well, to be honest, like if the world's flat, it doesn't affect me, my day-to-day life. So I'd be the first to be like, sure.
But see, that's wrong. By the way, I said the same thing. What difference does it make if it's flat or round? That's when you throw your hands up in the air. What difference does it make? And the reason they do it isn't for money. It's for control. And I don't want to throw this out there so early, but it's literally to hide the creator. And I'll use the word the creator. I was a science evolution guy my entire life. I'm not religious in any way before or now. But when you realize the construct of the world that we live in, you know that we're not just created from nothing. This is what heliocentrists believe, that once there was nothing and it exploded and became everything. And then a cell, started in the water. And now we're here, flying jet planes. It's utter nonsense.
Okay.
No, we're getting right into it.
We're getting right in real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
So explain. So why hide the? Why are they trying to hide the creator? That's my main question.
So
to that.
This is something, when you walk into I'm trying to think of a good analogy, like a homicide detective walks into a room and there's blood everywhere, dead bodies everywhere. They don't say, this couldn't have happened. They look for reasons why it happened. It's crazy that this happened, but it happened. They're looking at the evidence and they have to figure it out from there. So why do they do it? It's because we live in a literally satanic controlled world. The people that really control this world, the bloodlines, the secret societies, are Satanists. And just those few families are the ones that control this world. And they need us not to believe believe that there is a creator, because if we know who we are, where we are, and more importantly, what we are, they have no control over us. But if they keep us living in a low vibration of fear, believing that there is limited resources, limited space, then they have total control over us.
Okay, so when we talk about the they, are we talking about like the New World Order they, like the Rothschild, Morgan, Rockefeller, that type of crew? Or
I would call them the low levels. There's names that we don't even know who they are. The royal families, the Knights of Templar, all those secret societies. I actually am not the expert on who exactly they are, because the who doesn't matter. Right. It's the evidence of what is happening in the world.
So the real secret societies, the ones we actually don't really know about, not these like mainstream Illuminati, Freemason ones.
Yeah, well,
those fucking wannabe secret societies.
They're all part of it. The 33rd degree Masons, all these Masonic lodges, all of these, all the different religions are control mechanisms. A lot of religious people will get upset at me for saying that.
We definitely could agree on that one for sure.
I like this aspect, and had the two flat earthers we had on before got into that, maybe I might have been a little more soiled. But in a sense, but I still don't understand. I can understand they're manipulating and they're controlling everything through fear and stuff. But what does that have to do with the Earth being flat? Like, why does it have to be flat? Why couldn't it be round?
All right, so let me explain.
Let's explain what the flat Earth, like the main points.
It.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm going to explain it. So first, you have to just dismiss everything you think you know about the universe.
Easy,
Forget
done.
Everything.
We don't know much, so it's gone. It's out.
Yeah, and what you know is not right. Just forget everything and picture this. The Earth is all that there is. It is not a planet. It is a plane of existence, a realm, and it's flat. Yes, it has hills and valleys and stuff, but it's a surface that we don't know how deep it is. The deepest anyone's ever dug are the Russians. They've gone down 8 miles. We don't know what's underneath it, but it's all that there is, and it extends out far. Antarctica is not a continent at the bottom of a ball, but rather the outer lands that our small local sun cannot reach and melt. So the flat Earth is a cold place. We live in a thermal pocket where the center, the North Pole, is a magnetic mountain, we believe. But it is magnetic. We have proof that we can do that. All compasses point towards the north. And the sun is very close to the Earth, very small. It's not a burning ball of hydrogen. It's electrical. That's the best way I can describe it. And it circles around it in tight circles in our northern hemisphere plains winter, and then it goes into wider, faster circles in our winter, and in the outer southern hemisphere plains summer. So as that oscillates in and out, that creates the seasons. The story of how the seasons work on the ball Earth is utter nonsense when you really look at it, and that we can get into that in a little bit if you want. But so that's the flat Earth. If you go in any direction straight without turning, you will end up going south, even if you're going north, because once you pass the North Pole, you're going south. East and west are not straight lines. East and west are circles around the center point. Ship's captains that are going dead reckoning east or dead reckoning west, every half hour or so, depending on how fast they're going, they always have to correct to the north to keep their heading of 270 degrees or 90 degrees. Because they're going in a circle. And the funny thing is, that's true on a globe Earth or a flat Earth. When you're in the northern hemisphere, you can't go in a straight line and head east or west. The only place on a ball, in theory, strawman argument, is if you did it on the equator. But if you were halfway between the equator and the North Pole, you'd have to keep taking a right-hand turn if you're going west, or a left-hand turn if you're going east, to maintain your distance from the center point. It's a lot easier to see this, visualizing when I'm trying to explain it, draw a little picture in your head. So that's how it works. If you go south, you'll keep going and you'll never come back. If you go east or west, which is circles, you'll come right back to where you are. So people say, how do I circumnavigate on a flat Earth? Billions of people, maybe even you guys, have circumnavigated. They go to Japan, they fly east from California, and then they continue east and they come back and they come right back to where they started from. Nobody has done it south, circumnavigated south, because when when you go south, you keep on going.
Where do you keep on going? Where?
You keep on going straight across the flat Earth plane. We don't. And here's the thing.
Oh, so Antarctica. So the ice wall is not. There's no ice wall, right?
So no, hang on.
Okay.
People say the ice wall, and everyone thinks, what's that HBO show?
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
it's not like that.
Okay.
Go on Google and type in Antarctica ice wall, and you'll see it. It's the shoreline of Antarctica, and it happens to be a wall because it's just frozen. 100, 200, 300 feet high, and then there's a vast ice plain after that. But they have what's called the Antarctic Treaty, and nobody can explore Antarctica. One, they don't allow you to. Two, it's very difficult to travel that far from civilization. Where you're going to get fuel, the cold, the temperatures, and everything. It's difficult. The only people that can go to Antarctica, there's a couple of different companies, all run by the same company, that have tours to the two bases on the shoreline, right on the edge. You can't go deep. They'll take you to a place that they say, hey, you're at the South Pole, but nobody ever brings a compass because the compass wouldn't point to the south. And it's just a little bit inland, and that's it. But it's the shoreline that surrounds us. Like if you're on a big lake, the shoreline of the lake is Antarctica, and everything away from that shoreline is Antarctica.
Okay,
Dave, that is the
Dave,
flat Earth.
Let's jump in. Let's jump in with a couple questions because
please.
You could probably ramble for hours, right?
Sorry to go for so long.
You know it all.
No, it's
okay. One question. So the North Pole is a mountain, like a magnetic mountain.
Here's the other thing. We've all been trained. We saw those National Geographic. So those guys that went to the North Pole, they're in their tent, windy, their beards are frozen, the cameraman's camera's freezing. We all saw that. It's nonsense. We don't know what's at the North Pole. No one's allowed to go there. No planes are allowed to fly over it. That's a whole nother topic. No planes fly over the North Pole. They go up the polar route, up over Greenland, and then over to, Indonesia or wherever they're going. But nothing flies within, 1,000 miles, couple thousand miles of the North Pole. I don't know the exact distance.
Okay, so you say that now. If people want to go check that, is there like a resource for like flight paths or?
Yeah. There you can go to regular flight.
Only reason I asked is because like my roommate, he's a pilot, like an Antarctic and Arctic pilot, right? So he flies up there, and he's like assured me that the only planes who can't fly over the North Pole are like single engine planes that can't take the distance. That's pretty much what he's told me.
So here's the other thing. I don't know what's at the North Pole. Maybe nothing's there. Some people
it might not be a mountain. That's speculation.
We don't. I don't know how high that mountain is. Maybe it's only 10,000 feet high. I really don't know. But it is magnetic. Whatever's there is magnetic.
That's all good. How about the fact that like the poles actually will drift like up to 15 kilometers a year, like every year.
That's the magnetic pole drifts.
Yeah.
Who told you that? The same people that told you all this other nonsense.
Like pretty much like I think it's just like pretty much common knowledge, especially in aviation, that the compass, like your compasses automatically change because the pole will shift up to 15 kilometers a year. It's just like it's a floating pole. They're both floating poles, and they flip, right?
I don't have
okay, no, that's fine. I was
details on that. But again, this whole pole flip thing, there is no South Pole. There is no South Pole. No magnet points there. No compass points there. And compasses only work on a level, flat, stationary plane. We live on a plane, and they added a T to it. Airplanes fly over the flat Earth plane. The aviation air handbook or the guide for air traffic controllers, they treat all navigation as the Earth is a flat, stationary plane.
So my one question we had for the last two guys that came on that I know you're going to have a better answer for me, so that's why I want to ask it. You're standing at the ocean, you watch a boat leave, the boat disappears over the horizon, bottom up, right, as it goes around. So how do you explain that? You know what I mean?
So I'm with you. I have the perfect explanation. Anybody can do it. There's 1,000 videos that'll show it, and once you see it and engage your critical thinking, you'll know that it's not curvature. That we're told that the boats, sail over the horizon. Christopher Columbus, whoever saw the boat, and they figured that the Earth is a curve, and they showed us the video of the three-masted ship. But if you watch that video, it's very deceptive. They keep lowering the camera. It's a totally debunked video. But you can watch a boat disappear what appears to go over the horizon. But how it works on the flat Earth, and it would work the same on a ball Earth, but that's it. We don't live on a ball. Is if you were looking at something, if you're 6 feet tall and you're looking at something 6 feet ahead of you on the ground, you're looking down at about a 45-degree angle, and it's right there in your sight. As that thing moves farther and farther away, the angle from your eye to the horizon, because the horizon rises to eye level on a flat Earth, it gets less and less. When something gets to 0.2 degrees, I think, you can no longer see it. It disappears. So you watch a boat, and in literally 3 or 4 miles, it will disappear where you can only see the horizon. It's gone, and everyone says it's over the horizon. But you break out your new super zoom camera, the Coolpix P900, the Nikon P900 has an 83
no free advertising.
Yep. No. But and then you zoom in, and there's the entire boat in its entirety, and you can see water past it and watch it, disappear again, and you could zoom in farther, and there it is again.
Okay, so that's the one thing I was going to ask, because I have, say you zoom in and you can see it again. I haven't seen another video where they zoom in again and they see it. That's the only.
Well, here's the problem. It depends on, you get out a telescope, you can see it again, but the problem is over distance. You have humidity, pollution, you have all sorts of factors in the air, and after a certain amount of distance, the atmosphere is opaque. You can't see it. I call it a atmospheric horizon. Where it just becomes, there's so much stuff in between you and your eyes that it literally blocks out anything past it, and it becomes sky, what I call sky, because it becomes opaque, whatever color the sky is.
Okay.
In that direction.
In that case, so is the same then on a flat Earth, like all the air then, so it'd be the same every distance. So up, left, right, every direction would be the same distance to the blockage of air?
No, because when you're looking up, you're getting cleaner. The thickest air is right over the water, right over the land. And there's the most moisture in it. If you look straight up, the air gets thinner and thinner and cleaner, so you can actually see farther. Let's talk again. You have to watch the videos. Now, I'm gonna plug a website, a YouTube channel. There's a video.
Sure.
There's a video called "A Stranger's Guide to Flat Earth: 21 Questions." Your first 21 questions are there. Each one's answered in 5 minutes or less, and it'll get you on your way. And it's literally the best video. But we'll go over that. I'll give you guys some links when we're done.
So my next question is, so before, when we talked to the last guys, they were telling us that the Earth is essentially a plate with Antarctica being an ice wall, and we're shooting through space. Now, I couldn't get on board with that, but I do like what you've said about it's not that, it's a plane, like it's just forever. So in that, have you guys have flat earthers and stuff got together and said that maybe there's another say like an area like Earth, but way further down, like are there other pockets?
Let's go there. So there's several theories that flat earthers will get into. Some people say there's a dome and this is all there is, and those are the people that get into the Bible, because the Bible talks about just this Earth and stuff. Then there's others that think it's an infinite plane, and then I'm kind of in between. I think it's an infinite plane with other I'll call them domed, but I don't think there's a dome that connects down to the edges. This one you're going to like. So aliens are not coming from hundreds of thousands of light years. We're going to talk about light years in a second.
That was a question we wanted to ask you, like about aliens. Definitely.
They're coming from a few thousand miles away. If you go down to Chile and then continue south, fly over Antarctica, maybe 1,000 miles away or even 10,000 miles away, there's another thermal pocket, just like here. The belief is my belief, and I don't have evidence of this because we're not allowed to go there, is that there's other thermal pockets close by. And that's where the extraterrestrials from the extra territory come from. They're hiding more land, which is another reason they're hiding the flat Earth. They have us believing we live on a ball and that's all that there is. But if you think about the globe with the Antarctica at the bottom, if you put your fingers in Antarctica and pulled it out like a pizza and extended that plane, that's the world that we live in. And there's other thermal pockets. There could be millions of them.
Yeah, and I like that. that.
I like that theory better, for sure.
That's way better than the flying plate.
Flying plate through space.
The flying plate is nonsense. There's, if you Google flat Earth, it takes you to the Flat Earth Society. That is controlled opposition, where they tell you that the Earth is moving upwards at 9.8 meters per second, and that accounts for gravity. That's utter nonsense.
Okay, yeah, we definitely agree on that point.
Let's just stay with that for a second then. So what's keeping us on this endless plane?
So if you want to, most flat earthers will say that it's just density and buoyancy. Things fall down to the flat Earth. There is a force that pulls us down. I don't know what that is. If you want to call it gravity, you can, but it's not by mass. Think about this. Once there was nothing, then it exploded and became everything, and all this dust attracted itself to each other, and they formed spinning balls, right? It's laughable when you think about it. But think about the Earth. We're told that the reason you don't fall off the Earth as you go around its curve is because everything is being pulled to the center point. Well, who the fuck? Am I allowed to swear?
Fuck yeah!
Fuck, you say whatever you want.
Who the hell told that center point that was the center and everything is being drawn towards it? Think about a point halfway between the center and halfway between the crust. Is that point pulling everything from above and below towards it? It doesn't work. None of it makes sense. This is what you believe. Heliocentrists believe that the sun is this giant thing that has the Earth in its gravitational grip, and the Earth is flying and falling around the sun just enough where it keeps missing the sun. So it's got it and it's falling around. You do know that's what you believe, right?
Well, the balance of space is what you're talking about.
So this is what you believe, that the Earth is falling perpetually around the sun.
Yeah, don't make it sound so stupid though.
But here's the thing. They never explain it this way. And we're told, when you go to kindergarten, they show us the globe and they tell us the solar system, and Sesame Street and Disney is programming this crap in us all the time. Wait, let me just finish this.
Sure.
So you believe that the sun is holding on the Earth, it's falling around, the Earth is falling around the sun. But somehow, magically, the lesser gravity of the Earth grabbed onto the moon, and the moon is falling around the Earth. And for some reason, the sun's gravity doesn't rip the moon away or speed it up and slow it down as it moves towards the sun and away from the sun. The moon is completely independent of the sun. And then all of these other planets have no effect on us either, even though the sun's gravity is holding on to them. It's utter nonsense. If you think about it, don't you guys ever wonder why all the planets are on the same flat plane? Why aren't they all going around like they explain what an atom looks like? They're all on the same plane because they're going around the flat Earth. But we have to talk about what planets are.
We're getting to a subject that's like way beyond any of our capability to really talk the math, like astrophysics, right? Like
you don't need astrophysics. I know,
that's
but they want you to believe.
If you just say if you go with the argument like, oh, they teach you in kindergarten and great, like you don't know shit. Then they're just teaching you like a basic generic, just enough to get you through school, which I don't like. School is like an indoctrination, right? Like they indoctrinate you to fucking like. I'm on board with that part, but you can't like take the argument that you learned it when in kindergarten, grade 1 about it, and then like if you go to like these university classes with like millions of people all studying the same thing, like the math is like shit is fucking complex, and just because we can't understand the math.
Here's the thing: you can make an equation to explain anything. And if you have a false premise, how the big thing they say, they know the Earth is round because is it Archimedes whatever that did the experiment where he had the well in 2 different places, and the sun at noon was casting a shadow on one.
Stick and shadow.
Stick and shadow thing, and that only works on a ball. Well, that's a false argument. It works on a flat plane with a small local sun. Just get 2 batteries or 2 little posts and stand them up a foot away from each other on your desk, and then get a flashlight and hold it a foot above one of them facing down. One of them won't have a shadow. The other one will have a shadow. That's how our sun works.
I don't think you can't compare the sun to a flashlight. I don't think in an experiment.
Well, no, okay, then just get a light bulb. Get a light bulb. Hold the light bulb above one of them, and the other one will have a nice long shadow, and the one with the light bulb above it will have no shadow at the same time. That's what it's one that works perfectly. It works better than a ball. And the other thing is, how the heck did they do that experiment back then? 3,000 miles apart. Did they have cell phones? How did they know they were doing it at the same time? And the 2 cities that they used weren't even on the same latitude. So if he did do it, it was wrong. It's a
No,
fake story.
I see your argument. I definitely do.
Hashtag fake news.
Hashtag fake news. Yeah, exactly. No, I see. We definitely see. Like, I see your point, and like if you take a light bulb, right? The light bulb is only like, let's say 6 feet from the thing. Like, you're not talking on the same scale, right?
The sun is not a giant burning ball of hydrogen. It is small and local. If you watch some older flat Earth videos, they theorize using that stick and shadow thing that the sun is 3,000 miles high and 31 miles wide. Well, that sounds pretty small and pretty close. Well, in reality, it's smaller and closer than that. The truth is you can't triangulate the position of the sun because it's in a relative position to everyone, from everyone else's point of view. If we were standing on a beach a mile away from each other and the sun was setting, we'd all see the sun, that streak of sun across the water coming right to our feet. But I couldn't see the one coming to your feet, and you can't see the one coming to my feet. Okay. And that's how the sun.
Let's stay with the sun for a bit.
I have so say I was in the Arctic Circle, and you were say where you live. Well, how do you account for the midnight sun then, where the sun never sets the sky? It never sets. You just watch it wave up and down.
All right. So there's a lot of videos that show this, and I'm going to explain it to you guys pretty easy. The sun being close, we lose the view of the sun due to perspective and atmospheric horizons, along with some bending of light. But that's a whole other thing. But you can only see the sun at a certain distance. After that, its light no longer reaches you. Light does not travel for billions of miles and billions of years. It goes a very short distance, and it becomes nighttime from where you are. When the sun is doing its small, tight circles during our summer, June 21st, over the
Arctic
tropic, over the Tropic of Cancer, if you're inside that circle, in the Arctic Circle, the sun in its entire circle never gets far enough away to set. So it literally goes around you, and you have the midnight sun. So what would prove that we live on a ball if there was a midnight sun in Antarctica? And guess what? There's not. There's 4 videos that are obviously fake when you look at them. And the question is, why are they faking the midnight sun in Antarctica? It's because there isn't. The Antarctica.
Yeah, you say there isn't, but then if you know, like I've talked to my roommate a bunch, and either he's the ultimate flat Earth guy, which he's not. He's a pilot, and he's been at Antarctica probably 2 years in his life, and he's been there in the summer, and it's always sunny. Like it's the same as
it's not. No, he's mistaken. Hold on, let me explain.
Okay,
let me explain. There's a difference between sunlight and daylight. Daylight comes from the sky. Sunlight comes from the sun. They have some 17-hour daylight, but that has to do with how the sky fluoresces from our electric sun. The sun goes away and you do not see it. When it's doing its outer circle, I believe it's actually higher and bigger than it is when it's doing its inner circle. But if you look at we've had communications with the webcam people down there. And if you watch these webcams, it'll show 6, 7, 8, 10 hours, and then they cut it. They cut it, and we went back and forth with them, and they said the reason they cut it is because they don't have enough hard drive space. There is no midnight sun. There is no midnight sun in Antarctica. And also another thing that proves that we don't live on a ball is at equal latitudes north and south, you should have fairly close plant life and animal life and weather conditions. At 60 degrees north, there's hundreds and hundreds of different types of plants and animals, and people thriving. 60 degrees south, there's nothing.
Where's 60 degers south? What's the country?
It's getting towards Antarctica. It's down below New Zealand or outwards of New Zealand. But if you look on the map, there's nothing out there. It's waste. There's no plant life. There's nothing
at 60 degrees. It doesn't seem that far down.
Maybe it's 65 degrees. No, it's pretty far out there. But if you look at it, there's a video called by Eric Dubay called "Seasons Prove the Flat Earth." I think it's called that. 24-hour sun. Arctic versus Antarctic. Eric Dubay. Look that up on Google, on YouTube. Pretty short video.
Eric
Dubay. D-U-B-A-Y.
Okay.
Arctic versus Antarctic. Eric Dubay.
Okay. Here's my other question for you. It's a little off topic. So with this, like when you got my mind going into the endless plane and stuff, the first thing that I come to, and you're talking about the creator, not the God, a creator. It's instantly in me starts bringing up thoughts of the like hologram Earth, where we're not even we are just essentially like a computer program.
You know, there's a lot of question of what our reality really is. You know, everything is energy. We're taught that in mainstream science. I don't think we live in a simulation. I believe that, you know, this is a physical reality that we're in, that we've chosen to be here. And the question is, do we have the courage and strength to wake up to our reality and take best advantage of where we are and break this prison that we're in right now? It's, you know, you have to realize where you are before you figure out what this reality is. Let's just finish on planets for a second. The sun is small and local, and planets and everything you see in the sky is nothing more than lights. The only thing you know about planets are what Disney and NASA has told us, and Disney is far more credible than NASA at this point.
Those fucking Marvel movies are good, so I believe anything they tell me.
The planets used to be called wandering stars because that's what they are. They're wandering stars. All of the stars are fixed in place. You know, this is the story. We're flying.
I almost started rapping fucking Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
We're flying billions of miles every year, and somehow on the same day each year, the stars reset to their exact position. It makes absolutely no sense. The constellations never change. The North Star never moves.
Well, it's called precession of the equinox. It does move over time.
Yeah. Well, that's a story that you've heard, but it doesn't.
Well, I know, like you say all this stuff, and it's all good. Like we love theorizing, but the same time, like, have you ever looked in like an astronomical telescope? Have you ever looked at Jupiter? Have you just
Let's talk. Yeah, I have, and it's a light. It's not what NASA shows us.
So I look through it. So if it's not very far away and it's just a light, is it a firmament like that kind of type of flat Earth, or what's above us?
So what's above us? It sure looks like liquid. The sky is like water or some type of liquid. The stars are close. A telescope is nothing more than a microscope, a big microscope. And the more you zoom in, the smaller specks you can see that are right up there on, I'll call it the ceiling, the firmament, in the firmament. Not exactly sure, but it's there. Here's something that this is a proof that a channel named Jeranism, Jeranism, pointed out. We've been working on it, and this absolutely proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that we're not spinning. Are you ready?
Sure. I want to hear it.
Yeah. So you have to, I'm going to draw a little picture for you. Imagine on your ceiling, you have a big disc of stars, you know, little lights, and they're all spinning around a center point. And that's like a big record album, you know, on your, I'm dating myself with that, but you're spinning
it's coming back, baby.
It's making a comeback.
Back big time.
It is coming back. So if that was spinning around and you put a camera and you zoomed on the center light, and you did a time lapse, we all agree that those stars would create star trails, right?
Yeah, it happens. I've taken photos, I see star trails.
Yeah, you can take star trails around Polaris, and that's because it's spinning. So now, if you take a globe, and we've done this, we take an actual globe and we put a laser or a string along its axis, its northern pole axis, all the way up to the ceiling. So we have the spot on the ceiling that is the North Pole axis. It's easier to do with a laser, but you can do it with a string if you want. You agree that spot on the ceiling is where Polaris would be, correct?
Well, and you know what? I'll say correct, but I got a point to add after this.
Your point is it's so far away that it's different, right?
Yeah,
okay. But hang on. So do that, and then we put a little camera anywhere on the northern hemisphere, and we look at Polaris. We center it on the camera, and the second you move that globe a millimeter, Polaris is out of frame. Okay, and the thing is, the farther away you make Polaris, the worse it gets. It's like if you were standing 3 feet in front of me and I had a gun, I could take a pretty different angle and shoot you. But if you were 100 yards away, I'd have to be a lot more accurate. And the tiniest little move, I would miss you by forever. And the farther you are away, the worse it gets. We're told that those stars prove that we're spinning, but in fact, they absolutely, undoubtedly prove that we are not spinning and everything above us is spinning. So you can do the experiment yourself.
You're going back to bedroom experiments, though. Again, like
if you put a laser on the globe, I'm going to play the devil's advocate here.
Sure.
I to be honest, I don't give a. I'm not even sure you guys aren't just figments of my imagination. To be honest, like this is all just part of. You guys are all just living in my world that I created. So I'm good with any theory. But my thing with this is I've been taught that the Earth it not just spins, it also wobbles.
Yeah.
Right. So you can't mimic that by just putting a laser pointer on a globe because the Earth.
So wait, hang on. The wobble takes 26,000 years to do one wobble.
23,000.
We're talking whatever it is. We're talking 24 hours or even 12 hours to make a half circle of star trails, and that all go around a center point. It does not work if we are moving. The only place to film that would work is if you were exactly on the North Pole, looking exactly straight up at Polaris. Then it would work. But as soon as you move away from that North Pole, you cannot keep Polaris in that camera frame. It will move. It will move right out as soon as you start moving a tiny, tiny bit.
You know what? This is honestly we should start a GoFundMe where we try to get funding for a jet plane and let's just go.
Let's fucking go.
We tried to go to Antarctica. You can't. One guy did it. And they said, "Hey, we're self-funded. We're going." And within an hour, they was getting phone calls, emails. They're like throwing up red tape. No one's allowed to go to Antarctica. There's 57 countries or whatever are on this treaty, and people in the past people have tried and they've been met with military force. I think some people have been jailed. Some boats have been sunk. Nobody can go. We tried to rent our own boat and just go just to do some measurements. We want to film the midnight sun, and it cost like $100,000, and it was ridiculous.
Well, but it costs the money because of the lack of there's no resources in Antarctica. That's why it costs the money. But
listen, we weren't done with space. We weren't done with space. We'll go back to space in 1 second.
Okay.
Just on this. If they wanted to shut the flat Earth down, they would take us to Antarctica and let us film the midnight sun. Game over. But they can't.
Yeah, but you can go as a tourist to Antarctica.
But you can't. No one can go and film the midnight sun. You can only go at certain times of the year and certain
only
places.
In the summer. You can only go in the summer.
And that's when you supposedly have the midnight sun. How come nobody's filmed it? There's a thing called Crow's Law, and it's anything that can be filmed in high def will be filmed in high def, and it has not been filmed.
Okay, well, it's easy then. Get a GoFundMe from all. If there's enough flat earthers, I'm sure everyone pitches
There's
a
lot
dollar.
of us trying to do it.
You send David Weiss down to Antarctica,
and us. We want to come,
and we'll come too. We'll come too because it'll be fun. Well, maybe we'll see some fucking pyramids or something down there too while we're at it. But who knows? And we'll go. And we'll fucking do it. Like it doesn't seem like you can go as a tourist.
We put up it costs like $15,000 or something to go. We put up bets with we have a lot of ball earth trolls out there, and we said we put up bets. Let's go, and the winner pays for both trips, and no one steps up to the plate.
I got it solved. Isn't like Kyrie Irving and some other pro athletes? They're flat Earth guys. 15 grand is a penny. It's a penny for them.
They're not willing to throw their careers away.
Steph Curry is going to sign a $240 million contract. He can afford to fucking throw you a nickel.
But he doesn't want to throw that away, so he's not going to do it. That's why they brought Shaq in, the Freemason, to blow it up and say he was only kidding.
Fucking Shaq. No one believes Shaq.
Okay, I just want to go back to space for a bit because, obviously, we're big fans of space, planets and all that shit. It's fucking cool.
Planets are not rocks in the sky. Just remember.
Okay, but you watch them. You can see if that's a wandering star. You can see our sun is a star. Let's say it's fucking glowing with it's either electric sun or whatever science you want to believe it is. Let's say the planets, they look like if you zoom in close enough, you can see moons eclipsing on Jupiter. You can watch Jupiter spin. You can watch it spin.
You can see lights. Things spin. I'll give you that.
So why does that? Why does what I was saying? If everything in the universe, everything we know, everything's like a vortex. Everything spins on this planet. Tides spin, weather patterns spin. Everything's based on a spinning globe, and space is spinning. Everything is. It makes more sense that everything is spinning because everything we witness and all our laws of physics. Everything's
you're
spinning.
making a lot of assumptions there.
I'll even go tie a blindfold, walk across the field. You start walking in a circle.
Everyone does.
I can't argue with that. I don't know. I haven't tried that. I think I could walk across the field straight, but I'd probably veer off course because I don't have my senses.
Everyone does.
And here's the thing. You always do circles to the right.
So, hey, let's talk about, you guys believe that the stars you see in the sky are other suns, correct?
But my thing with the flat Earth is why not? Why can't there be an endless up? Like, say we are the plain bottom.
I don't know.
The existing
there could
bottom.
be more levels up there. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what we see.
Yeah.
You believe that those other tiny little lights in the sky are suns, some bigger, some smaller, some the same size as our sun, correct?
Well, not necessarily just a sun in a ball. I believe that they're a galactic. I don't necessarily think we're seeing one ball. I think we're seeing galactic light, like the light from an entire galaxy filled with suns.
Let's talk about the star Sirius. Is that a star like our sun? That's what we're told, right?
Yeah, Sirius A and B, isn't it? A dual star system.
Yeah, okay. So those are stars like our sun. So now let's think about our sun and the Earth. The sun is like one of those big gym yoga balls, and the Earth is the size of a small pebble right next to it. Agreed?
Sure, probably even smaller.
Okay, even smaller. So now imagine that you're on that pebble and that sun is an inch over the pebble, and you look up, all you can see is the sun. It encompasses everything, correct? You can't even see its curvature because it's so fucking big. It's right over your head. Agreed?
Well, okay, I will agree in that sense, that close. But I think
if it's that close, I'm going to give you an analogy.
Okay, perfect.
So we're on the Earth. We're on the real Earth, and the sun is a mile over our head. It's all we can see. It fills the whole sky. There's nothing else you can see. We both agree on that. Now we're going to move that sun 93 million miles away in 30 seconds. It's just going to move 93 million miles away. It goes from the size of everything we can see to the size of a dime held at arm's length. Agreed?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. What if we doubled that distance? Do you think you could still see that dime-sized sun that went from, remember how big it was? It went 93 million miles and it became the size of a dime. We're going to put it another 93 million miles. Do you think you could see it?
Yes.
I
not the size of a dime,
it
but
would
you'll
be
be
like
able to see
maybe
it.
like a pinhead or something.
What
like
if we
head of a nail.
What if we went 8 times that distance?
Yeah, but now you're talking about after a distance matter of perspective, like it's a diminishing curve. I'm pretty sure.
You're pretty sure. So that you're just guessing at it.
Yeah, I'm guessing at it. Dave. 1 second, buddy. 1 second. You're throwing out an experiment. You can't prove in any way. You've never done it. You're just saying
I've done it.
No,
I've done it with a 2 million candlelight spotlight on a boat, and in 7 miles on a perfectly clear night, you cannot see it.
7 miles is not far.
That's right.
You can see you can see a flashlight across the valley if you flash it.
Yeah,
like,
but I'm saying this sun, if it went 8 times the distance, it would. You're saying you still can see it, but I'm not even talking about that. You're talking of that's a light hour. 8 times the distance of our sun is 1 light hour. 24 times 8 times that distance, right? Which is close to 200 times is 1 light day, right? And you're talking about stars that are light years, hundreds of light years away. It's utter nonsense. Light is an energy, just like any other wave. It only goes a very short distance and it peters out. But we've been lied to about everything.
But the thing is, Dave, for me, that experience doesn't work even with your own thing, because you said the air is the thickest by the water and stuff. So even by saying that, it wouldn't work because you said the air and stuff is thinner up, and if that's above us pointing down, your experiment wouldn't work because you're shooting even through the thick air and the humidity is what you were saying before.
I'm with you, but I'm just saying in 7 miles, it becomes almost nothing. Again, correct. We're talking about you're looking through miles and miles of atmosphere to look up to get into what you guys think is space. Here, let's do another one. Let's staying on space. If you had an aerosol can, that sprays whatever is in it, and you stabbed a screwdriver into the side of it, what would happen to the stuff inside?
Well, you might hurt your hand.
Yeah, it depends what's in there.
It would spray out. High pressure always goes to low pressure. So the question is, we live in a high pressure system where we have air pressure, and space is the ultimate vacuum. They tell us if the International Fake Station got a hole in it, all the air would be sucked out in a millisecond, and they would all die. How does the air, careful before you answer this, not get sucked into space?
Pretty sure the gravity of the planet holds it here up to a certain distance.
So I'm going to prove to you right now that that's not the case.
Okay.
So here's an experiment that you can do. Get a 64-ounce plastic bottle and suck some of the air out, half of the air, so it doesn't crush. So it's just, and then put the top on, and we'll call that a low pressure system, right? It's not a vacuum because there's still air in there. It's a low pressure system. Would you agree? It has less pressure than the air around it. Would you agree?
Sure.
Okay. If you stuck the bottom of that in a tub of water and no, not even that. If you just held it in the hand and you poked a hole in the bottom of it, it would suck air into it. Do you agree?
Suck air into it?
It would suck air into it to equalize the pressure.
Yeah, it's not going to decrumple the bottle though.
No, the bottle. Let's say it's a rigid bottle and it's not gonna collapse. You sucked half the air out and then you poked a hole in the bottom. It's gonna suck air up into it. Agreed?
Agreed.
Sure.
Agreed. It's sucking air up into it. It's sucking air up and away from gravity. You can even stick the bottom of that bottle in the water, poke a hole in it, and it'll pull water up, which is a lot heavier than air. Why isn't the gravity holding that down? Your theory
it's the same relative gravity though. Like you're not like if you poke a hole here on let's say fucking ocean level and you do it, sure, it goes back in. It's not the same. It's not the same if you do it here and if you do it up 300 miles.
You're making that up. It's not true. It is the same. It's actually worse when you go up there. There's no way in a lab, any way in any type of experiment that you could have high pressure next to low pressure without a solid barrier. So there's one question. There's one thing. Either there is a barrier or there is no space. Okay, and that's
pretty cut and dry, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. But okay, let's say you have this can. It's in the same pressure, the same density of air is all around it. It's all around it. So a small little vacuum fills it back up. Whatever. If you go up there and you take all the air, if you put air in it and you pop the top, there's no air and it gets vacuumed out so much faster. It's not even comparison.
How does the air on Earth not get sucked into the vacuum of space? You have a vacuum. You're gonna have
100,000 scientists all tell you that the force of gravity on this planet to a certain point will trap air here. And on a planet that's smaller, air, a lot of things will go into it, but then some planets can't have air because they don't have enough gravity to hold it down. So like it's a really, like, you got to disprove a lot of people, right, with a claim like that. It's like
again, you're talking about planets. Nobody's seen a planet.
I've seen a planet. I've seen multiple planets through telescopes.
You've seen lights in the sky. Here, let me ask you.
They behave like a planet. They behave like our models, right? Like we model the solar system, like astrophysicists. They model the solar system after fucking like millions and millions of combined hours working on this shit. They model the solar system like, okay, this is how our physics works. And you look at this planet, you're like, oh, it's moving like that. The way it's spinning, the way the moons are, like everything's relative to each other. And to disprove something like that, like you got to have a lot. I'm going to
disprove it right now, but you're going to have to check because you're not going to believe me when I tell you this. NASA cannot model anything more than a two-body system. It doesn't work. They can only model how gravity would work with two bodies. As soon as they add a third body, let alone 10 different bodies, or how many bodies are in our solar system, 100 with all the moons and stuff, they cannot model They cannot model more than a two-body system because it doesn't work.
So you got to have a link for that or something. That's a big claim.
Yeah, well, there is. I'll try to send you one. I don't have.
Send us some stuff that like we can look at. It was much easier that way.
Yeah, as many videos as you can send us, because we will post on Twitter, and like if we can fall down the rabbit hole, we want to fall.
Here's the thing: if you believe whatever I'm telling you, you're insane. You have to look at it yourself. And when you start looking, you'll see. Here's a question: look at the moon on a full moon night. One, it's equally lit all around. There's no hot spot. How is that even possible? That it's reflecting sunlight so bright that on a dark night, in a non-lit area with a full moon, the moon will light me up where I can read by it, and it will cast a shadow of me on the ground from the moon. It's supposedly reflecting the sun, but that's called moonshine, right? But when there's a new moon where the moon is up during the day, supposedly, and we can't see it, wouldn't the Earth shine on the moon be even brighter because the Earth is a lot bigger and a lot shinier? It doesn't. You cannot see the moon. Like during a solar.
Can see the moon.
No, hold on. I meant during a solar eclipse where the moon is eclipsing the sun. You cannot, with any telescope, with any lens, see the moon. All you can, as it's approaching the sun, and all you can see is whatever it is that's eclipsing the sun's shape. And
which is round.
Well, that we can't see it because all the light, like the moon, it's casting a shadow on us, so we can't. It's not lit up, so that's why you can't see it.
Well, no, the sun is shining on the Earth, and the Earth shine should be far greater than the moon.
No, but the sunshine is way greater than the Earth shine. Like it would not even be close.
So you're thinking
the reflective nature of the Earth is not going to overpower the sun onto the dark side of the moon that's facing us. Like there's no way.
Why not?
Well, and it wouldn't. Okay, even in that sense, like if when the eclipse happens, and the moon's facing us. We're seeing the dark side of the moon. We can't see it because it's casting its shadow on us. So there's no light hitting our Earth in that direction to shine back on the underside.
We're still in the light. The whole moon is we're seeing it from all over, the lit side of the Earth. That again, it's just something to think about. That it's a tough one. If you look at how a sphere is lit, there's a hot spot, and then it gets dark around the edges. The moon isn't that way. The moon is its own light. The moon is not reflecting sunlight. The moon and the sun are like an anode and a diode in an electrical system. And I believe the phases of the moon are caused by the sun, but electrically, not by reflecting light.
Dave, I have a question for you. With all the technology coming in SpaceX, and they want to do passenger planes to space. Let's theorize we get you on one of these flights into space, and you see the Earth.
It's a strawman argument. I agree. If you get me on a flight and get me into space, I'll agree that I'm an idiot and I'll institutionalize myself.
Okay.
But SpaceX or NASA has never been into space. Have you guys watched the landings of those rockets on the rafts? Have you guys watched any of that?
I've seen the one. Yeah,
I've seen a couple.
I've seen the one that landed and they reset.
Why?
It's nonsense. I mean, they're landing these things with a little flame pops out, and if you watch the video, it's all broken down. And it stops this multi-ton, tower landing on a raft in 20 knots of wind while it's heaving and pitching in the wind, and it just lands perfectly. And no one's there to see it. They got one camera, and the camera always craps out, due to a bad satellite connection, which is nonsense. And they don't have any video of it. It just magically lands.
Well, hey,
it's like the worst magic trick ever.
Time will tell on that one. That's a big magic trick. That's a lot of money to spend
it's either that or just an amazing feat of human ingenuity to do something like that, right? Because you can watch the rockets take off. They do take off. So where do they go?
Well, hang on. That's another thing. Rockets are nothing more than helium balloons with fireworks on the bottom. They go up.
Oh,
they tilt.
You got to source
hang on.
You got to source it.
I'm going to show you. We have tons of video. We have tons of analysis. We've discovered so much. They go out over the ocean and they ditch them in the ocean. Within a minute or two after launch, they switch to a cartoon, and that's all you're watching is a cartoon. See, you have to. So here's a channel everybody should go to. Jeranism, Jeranism. If you watch his last 20 videos, you'll be a flat earther.
Okay,
I've watched a lot of flat Earth videos, and I'm still not there. Yeah. So maybe I'll check those ones out.
Yeah, we'll have to check those ones out. So now you're saying there, because before when we talked to the last guys and we asked them if they could be disproved, they said no. They said it's all a lie. There's no proof. There was nothing that could change their mind. But you're saying that if proof were to come, you would change your ways.
Oh, I am willing to anything. I am willing to change my opinion based on new information at any time. I am not attached to the flat Earth at all in any way. I'm attached to the truth. And once you start looking at the nonsense that we're taught, I mean, you believe that we're spinning at 1,040 miles per hour. That's almost twice the speed of sound. While spinning, we're going 66,000 miles around an elliptical orbit around the sun, which is a speed that you can't imagine. While doing that, we're chasing the sun at almost 700,000 miles per hour. And while that's going, the galaxy is moving at like 2.2 million miles an hour in another direction, and we feel none of this. And the stars never change. If you think about it, it's nonsense.
But the stars do change, and the reason you can't feel us moving, we're on a closed system here. It's like if you were going on like a bullet train. The bullet train's going 1,000 miles an hour. You're on it. You're going 1,000 miles an hour one way. You can stand up and walk back the way the train's coming. You're going 1,000 miles an hour, but you can it's relative. You can still walk backwards.
So hang on, you're incorrect, and I've done this. I've done this test myself. If you're on a train going at a steady speed on a flat, perfect, you're not speeding up, you're not slowing down, and you're not going up or down any hill, and you walk towards the front of that train, and then you walk towards the back of that train, there is a massive difference. If you start running towards the back of that train, your strides are going to get so long and you're going to fall flat on your face because you'll be slowing down. If you try to go forward, it's like running uphill. It's an argument that people just believe, and no one tries.
I can buy that one because I remember being on the BTS and when I lived in Thailand, and you running down it, you do get some momentum going. So I definitely can agree with that one there.
But you're still you're on a closed system traveling that fast, and you can still move around freely backwards. Like, it just is this like it's a tough one, right? That's a really tough thing to prove.
Now, Dave, I'm not sure if you listened to our first. See, and I'm not smart enough to prove my own.
Hang on. You said that's a tough one to prove. It's not. You guys made a statement saying that if you do that, you won't feel anything, and I told you I did it, and you do feel something.
No, you're just saying that we're going so fast that how could, like, I've heard the argument before, like, oh, we're going so fast, if I jump, why don't I fly back at 1,000 miles an hour?
I'm not saying that at all.
We're on like a relative system. So, like, I'm traveling 1,000 miles an hour right now. We all are relative to each other, but so we don't feel like we're moving.
So wait a minute. If I'm in northern Alaska and you're on the equator, you're going 1,040 miles per hour. I'm going 300 miles per hour. Can you agree with that? On a ball. I don't
really know the math behind that.
Well, but that is the case, because, like, if I'm 100 feet from if I'm a mile from the North Pole in a 24-hour period, I'm going to spin a mile radius circle around the North Pole.
Yeah.
So I'm literally moving at like a couple miles an hour, right? Less than a mile an hour, because I'm going to travel a short distance. But you're at the equator, you have to go 24,000 miles in an hour, so you're going about 1,000 miles per hour. You agree with that?
Well,
I can't agree with that because I don't know.
I kind of see what you're trying to get at, but it's still all relative. You're still spinning at the same speed.
No, you're not spinning at the same speed.
You're just traveling at different. If you put your laser on the roof, like you're saying, you're going to spin a smaller circle.
So hang on.
Your laser's not going to wrap around the Earth faster.
But both lasers are still going to spin the same speed.
No, you're going to spin the same circumference, the same number of degrees in a day. So just think of a globe and put a tape measure around the equator, and let's say it's 24 inches. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're going to go 24 inches, 360 degrees. Then if you put a tape measure from Alaska, keeping it at the same latitude going around the North Pole, you're only going to go maybe 5 inches, right? That circle is going to be 5 inches. So you're going to go 5 inches in 24 hours.
But the whole ball spin, like, say if that was a tennis ball and you spin it, the whole ball spins at the same speed.
No, that's not true. The ball spins at the same everything goes around at the same number of degrees in the same period of time, but they travel different distances. You're going 24,000 miles on the equator, and I'm only going a couple hundred miles in Alaska to make a full circle.
Okay, I think we're getting into math that we don't know. But let's say,
hang on,
Dave, 1 second.
This is important. Go ahead.
Same thing. You come back to the same spot every time at the same time.
That's what I want to just put that baseline down. But you agree that on the equator you're going much faster than you are in northern Alaska, because your path is a much shorter one in northern Alaska. This is true. This is not math. This is what NASA says. This is what you have to agree to if you believe in the ball model. So the question is, if you're in northern Alaska and you're only traveling 300 miles an hour, 400 miles an hour for the Earth's spin, I think it's even less than that depending on how high up in Alaska you are. If you take off and fly to the equator, how do you catch up to the Earth? You'll never catch up. You're going 300 miles an hour, and if you go with the spin of the Earth and speed up, you're flying 800 miles an hour. You go to 500 plus the 800, but the Earth is spinning at 1,000. How do you catch up to the Earth?
You're going back to the relative system, right? If you take off in a plane, you're already traveling the same speed as the Earth, so you can go wherever you want.
Okay, you're traveling the same speed of the Earth, 300 miles per hour, because that's where you are. Let's say you take off from the North Pole, you're not traveling at all. How do you get up to that 1,000 miles per hour when you fly down to the equator? You can't live on a ball. You can't.
If I take off on a plane and the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour,
right?
But it's all relative, so I'm going the same speed anyway. Really, my speedometer only says I'm going 100 miles an hour, let's say.
Right.
I can turn and go whatever way I want to go, because the Earth is it's a big contained system. So you can fly west or east. The only thing that makes a difference is the air current, which makes you go slower or faster one way or the other.
So if I was in a helicopter and I was hovering above the North Pole, how fast am I traveling?
If you're hovering,
you're not going anywhere.
I'm not going anywhere. If I'm on the equator and I hover above the equator, how fast am I traveling relative to a point in space?
You're not traveling anywhere.
Yeah, I'm traveling 1,000 miles per hour because the Earth is spinning.
Yeah, but you're traveling with the Earth.
With the Earth. Land speed 0, zero as a point in space 1,000 miles per hour.
I kind of see what you're trying to get at.
I see the point you're trying to make, but at the same time, you can do the test. Put 2 dots on a tennis ball, give it a spin. They come back the same point.
But one of them is making a big circle and one of them is making a small circle. What I'm saying is,
what's wrong with that though?
Yeah, but if you take the speed of the small one and move it down to where the big one is, it's not going to be able to keep up. It's going a different speed. You have to think about it. No,
I do see your argument you're trying to make, but I'm just saying, like, if it's all relative and it comes back to the same point at every time of day, it doesn't matter how fast we're traveling through space. The relative speed on this planet is the same if you're at the North Pole or the equator. But anyways, we could talk about it forever. Let's go some more points about the flat Earth. One more thing I wanted about space. If you're in what you're on the East Coast somewhere, New Jersey or something.
Yep, East Coast.
So you look up at the stars and then you call your buddy up in Australia and you both take a picture of the stars that same night. They're going to be different.
Absolutely. So let's picture this. You're in a room with a regular 10-foot high ceiling, and it's got lights, inset lights on the roof, right? And on the ceiling, correct? You with me?
Yeah.
And now imagine that room is the size of a city, okay? And it's flat. It's the size of a city. It's a big, gigantic room. And you're lying on the floor on one end. I'm lying on the floor at the other end. Are we going to be looking at the same lights? Absolutely not.
Well, that's the lights are very close to us.
The lights, you're only going to see the ones close to you. And in a short period of time, the way your eyes work, the floor is going to converge with the ceiling, and you're not going to see anything past that point of convergence.
So I'm not sure how do you explain, say, like the aurora australis then, because we could maybe agree that northern lights, say on a flat Earth, if the magnetic north is the mountain, you could say that the Arctic Circle gets the northern lights and that's why they see it, and it trickles down and then you start to lose it down in maybe where you are in the East Coast, New Jersey, you probably don't see it very often, very rarely. Get down to Mexico, they probably don't see it at all, and then you start getting southern and they start seeing it again. But if you're talking about flat Earth, how does that work? How do you think that works for like the auroras? Because we're big on auroras here.
Love them.
All right. You guys ever hear of Nikola Tesla?
Yeah, I love Tesla.
Yep.
Okay. So Tesla knew how to pull all of the energy you need out of the earth, and JP Morgan shut him down because you couldn't bill the people for it. He had the Tesla Tower built in Long Island where he was transmitting free electricity and communications anywhere, and it worked at the World's Fair. And when JP Morgan asked, how do you bill the customers, he said, you can't. They shut him down, and JP Morgan had the corner on the market for copper wire and electric meters and whatever. And this is the prison that we live in now. We have to pay for the power that's free. Yep. The Earth is a giant battery. The North Pole is the anode, and the ring around us that we call Antarctica is the diode. And the salt water in between is connects the currents. And the dome above is, you ever see one of those lightning balls? What are those called?
Where you touch them and your hair stands up.
And so I believe that the aurora borealis has something to do with that. Not the one with it. So the dome comes closer to the ground in Antarctica, in the outer southern regions, and that's what you're seeing. You're seeing the electrical current crossing over what I call the domed ceiling.
So the dome then would end at like the Antarctic, like around us, right? So like in the plane, but you're saying that we could be encapsulated in this kind of a dome.
A lot of people say if you put a dome over us, that just makes us another prison dome rather than a prison planet. Yeah. I personally believe that the plane goes on farther, that there's other realms, other worlds, just a few thousand miles away, and whether they're not allowed to come here, they don't know about us. That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. Maybe some of them are here, maybe lots of them have come here and settled. A lot of people say that, that certain races of people are aliens. Well, I think they're extraterrestrials, not aliens. Right. Extraterrestrials come from the outer lands. There's a video on my channel, DITRH, called The Outward Flow of Civilizations. And it talks about how ice ages work and how our sun is born in the north and it expands its ring over time and it pushes the ice out farther. And then when it gets far enough out, the northern hemisphere, the inner part, freezes again and a new sun comes out with the outer sun. So it's a ringed system. This is just a theory, but there is some evidence pointing to its possibility. And it's called The Outward Flow of Civilizations on the DITRH YouTube channel.
Definitely check it out. Dave, on our first podcast, see, I think you flat earthers are getting close to my own personal theory. I think everything will go infinitely large and it can go infinitely small inwards. So I like to think it as the toilet roll tube Earth, where if you think as we're standing in the middle of a toilet roll and it goes infinitely large, infinitely small, infinitely left and right. I'm not smart enough.
Wait, so the tube goes one way really small and one way really big?
Yeah, so now from here we can go out to space and it gets larger and larger and larger, and we can't fathom even how large it gets.
Right.
To the point where at a certain thing looking back at us, we're microscopic, and then you can take a microscope and look smaller and smaller and smaller, and it just keeps going, and we can't fathom how small things get and how large things get.
Well, that's fun to think about. Let me ask you another question.
Yep,
the International Space Station, which I call the International Fake Station, pretty good technological accomplishment for mankind. Wouldn't you agree?
I'd say so, but I'm guessing you wouldn't.
So when they built it modularly, I'm not exactly sure how they built it. The guys at Mission Control would be orchestrating most of this. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, yeah, they would be the mission. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got your astronaut construction workers up there in their clunky spacesuits that don't blow up like the Michelin Man in the vacuum of space because they're magical. But skipping all of that, how many cameras do you think they would have beaming information back during the assembly of this thing so Mission Control could make sure everything was screwed and bolted airtight? How many would you think?
I don't think
there's any really.
Once you're up there, I don't think that's up to you. The Mission Control can't really do shit for you unless you have a problem.
How many cameras are monitoring what is going on during this, or are these guys working on their own with no cameras videoing them?
Well, there is. We saw. I got to trust my boy Chris Hadfield because he was up there with cameras and videos. He's a good Canadian lad. So
Chris Hadfield is a traitor to humanity, and he's never been in space. Let me tell you how many pictures and videos there are of the space station being built. Zero. There's none. It just appeared in space.
Well, you can look up pictures of the Canadarm.
Canadarm, I think they call it.
You have nothing except CGI. You go to my DITRH YouTube page. Go to my playlist and the NASA fakery. As a matter of fact, I got a better website for you. There's an amazing website called Stop, Look, Think. And it has NASA hoax pages and flat Earth pages up the wazoo. And there's tons of videos there. And all you have to do is take the time to look at them and see. We found a NASA archive which was unpassword protected. It's still available now because they just don't care. That has thousands and thousands of directories and subdirectories of images of Earth. And what they are computer-generated cloud images laid over the blue marble painting and then with instructions on how to put it into Photoshop and turn it into a sphere.
Okay, like
all images of space are fake.
I'm on board with I'm on board with NASA. They doctor stuff. Like I think I'm more on the UFO doctors out UFOs and maybe alien base on the backside of the moon. But there's one thing I got to ask you.
Sure.
You ever heard of Skylab, the precursor to the ISS, right?
Skylab, and you're going to talk about the guys that were running around in that circle. Go watch 2001: A Space Odyssey. They did a better job. It's all nonsense. If you look at it, a lot of that stuff was filmed on a zero-G plane. The rest was done with wires.
No, but Skylab crashed. It crash landed.
Yeah, I was alive then, and it crash landed, which is nothing. I mean, did they fight? They could have just dropped that out of a high altitude
That's what
plane.
I mean. For this conspiracy to be that big, for Skylab to drop down just outside of a little town south of Perth, I think, in Australia.
Did you see it?
Of course I didn't see it. I think it was 1979, 10 years before I was born. But
yeah, well, I was alive then. I think
it's a well documented thing.
It's not. It's not a well documented thing. 9/11 was a well documented thing, and it's nonsense. All of it's nonsense, man.
Yeah, we agree on
9/11 for sure. Or not?
My thing is, I just go back to just if this is all a lie, like the amount of people that would have to be bought off and killed, and part of it is just
it's not that many people. First, they're probably lying to us about the population of the Earth. I mean, there might only be 1 billion people on Earth. We don't know the answers to that.
I'll agree with that. I'm not counting everyone. I ain't got time for that.
There's a small group of people that know. The elite know, and basically the ones that know, they look down at people that are this stupid not to see through it. Because here's the thing, it's called the law of free will, or at least that's what I call it. The karmic law of free will is what I call it. And they have to tell us what they're doing. Otherwise, they're just not that. They have to do that. It's a universal law, for lack of a better word. And they tell us. And if we don't say no or don't call bullshit, that's on us. And so they tell us everything they're doing. All these other conspiracies, they tell us, they show us that they're faking it, and people are just too lazy to give a shit.
We have talked about that on our show with other things where they're just, it's almost them just kind of flaunting what they're doing. Like they don't like
they got to give it to you. They got to let you know just enough. Like they like all the precursors for 9/11, all this. They put it out there just so you know, so they can like clear their conscience, whatever fucking conscience they have, and then it happened. Like we're on board with that for sure. But on something like this, okay, let's just I'm gonna go here for a second. What are we doing right now? We're talking into microphones. Our voice goes into a microphone, gets transcribed, fucking digitally sent through the internet onto your thing, record onto your computer. You can video call someone across the world. The whole world's interconnected. All this technology that's been built is because of human ingenuity. Like we're fucking smart. They're really fucking smart. And for all,
hang on.
I said I'm going.
I'm sorry, my bad.
Okay, all this technology in the world. You got planes. You got GPS. You got all this like fucking millions and millions and millions of highly educated people working on this stuff every day. We're fucking smart. If these elite, very small group of elite would have to come up with all our technology, all our space, all our telescopes, and there's no fucking way a bunch of fucking greedy ass motherfucking bankers can come up with all this technology. Or just give us just the truth and be like, oh, they'll never figure it out.
They just have to fund it.
Let me answer all of that. One, it's not the bankers. It's money is just a belief system. Money is a way to control us. They don't need money. They have us. We're slaves. We're doing everything for them. All they want to do is take our money. Money is sigil magic. We put all of our energy into this money, our energy. That's what they want, and they control us with it. They hang these little paper notes in front of us, and we dance for them, and we do whatever they want for them.
Oh, and do I fucking dance?
Yeah.
No, we're on board. We're on board with money as like as a control factor, and the elites do rule through controlling the banks and the IMF and like the whole world system. Like that's not debated for sure. But I'm saying like those people who control the money don't control astrophysics. They don't know all a million different fields of technology. That's like that's private people that they come up with that. Like people are smart.
So you're this is where you're mistaken. All the big corporations, they're all controlled by the elite. There's only a few families that own, the massive high percentage of all of the big corporations. They're all involved in this. Satellite technology. There are no satellites. It's all done with cell towers. You don't know where the computer chip came from. It could have come, we don't know where it come from. It didn't come from an alien crash. It's other technology, and they're giving this stuff to us. They're giving us an opportunity.
Who's giving us the technology? Who's giving us? Who gave us the internet? Who gave us all this technology? It's not just a group of
the elite.
But I know in conspiracy, like the elite and they is like the all powerful term. But that's where this comes into play for me is all this technology, all this audio gear I have in my fucking thing, my guitar, like my truck, like it was all done by people. Most of it done by people tinkering in the garage, and they come up with an idea, and eventually, yes, it does get bought up by all
chip.
It all gets built up by the big corporations in the end, and at the end, yes, they control the technology in the end. But the initial technology is done by normal people who are fucking smart.
Some of it is, but the computer chip didn't come from a normal guy in his garage. This stuff was given to us. Our language is given to us as a weapon. Our words are weapons. We don't realize the power of our words and our thoughts. They teach us that our words and our thoughts have no power, but that is the opposite of the truth. And we use them against ourselves. We beat ourselves up. We watch the news, which basically just depowers us, and we say things that steal our own energy from us. The elite don't use words. They use sigils and what we would call magic. to communicate with each other. You know, they have their signs and symbols are rule the world, and we're blind to that.
Dave, we're starting to run out of time here, so let's. You want to give us one more thing? What do you think everyone should know about the flat Earth cause? Give us one more.
So it's not a flat Earth cause. It's not a
the belief.
It's not even a belief. People believe they live on a spinning ball, and people that research know that we do not live on a spinning ball. What I say is, if you're sick of the flat Earth nonsense, turn off the TV for 2 weeks. Turn off the radio and start digging into the flat Earth. Go to the website stoplookthink.com. I also put a link in the chat here. I don't know if you could share it with the podcast. It's the ODD 24/7 Flat Earth feed, where he runs some of the best flat Earth videos 24/7. And there's a live chat there, and you can go ask a question. But I have to warn you, don't go in there and say, "Oh, you guys are retarded or bullshit," because you'll be banned instantly.
We're not about.
We're not about that at all.
I'm telling your listeners because it is an emotional thing. Nobody likes having their ball taken away, and they get upset. So go in there,
or they're in this plane.
Watch a couple videos and say, "Hey, I'm new here. DITRH sent me. I have a question. Can somebody direct me to a video?" And one of the mods will pop in the video that you need. Just ask a question. But the thing is, it's going to take you a week or so of digging in. And let me tell you something. When you do, everything changes, because then you could start seeing through the other nonsense like nuclear bombs. Complete and total fake. There are no nuclear bombs. Okay.
Nuclear power?
Nuclear power is just boiling water with chemicals that get hot in the air. Whether it's plutonium or not, I'm not 100% sure, but it's not nuclear fission. It's just boiling water with chemicals that get hot when they're exposed to air, like potassium.
But it's done in water, though. Like the tanks are water.
Yeah, well, they keep them in water so it doesn't,
I'm just kidding. That's a whole other thing. Like, whatever.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. But there are no nuclear bombs. Dinosaurs never existed.
Okay, wait.
Nobody has ever been in space.
I'll say no one's walked on the moon. I'll agree with that. But dinosaurs. Let's go back to dinosaurs really quick.
Fucking dinosaurs.
Okay, I'll just tell you a quick story here. There's a place up north called Tumbler Ridge, and you can walk, and in the bush, in the woods, in the middle of fucking nowhere, these kids were walking along the river, and on the riverbed in some hardened rock, there's dinosaurs print, and they just found that was 2 years ago, and they started excavating the area in the middle of nowhere, and they found the first dinosaur skull.
I know all about it. When they didn't find a dinosaur skull, they're lying. There are no dinosaur skulls. None has ever been found. They'll find one tooth and some crushed up bones, and they'll give it to an archaeologist whose job requires, and they say, "Hey, figure out what dinosaur this was," and they make up a dinosaur. Well, let me ask a question. How did a stegosaurus have sex?
What kind of question is that?
Take your time. Look at a fucking stegosaurus, and you'll realize it's complete and utter nonsense.
Well, here's the thing. I can agree with you on that, but I think the whole paleontology and all that stuff, it's doing exactly what we're doing. It's theorizing on what it could be. 10 years ago, 20 years ago when Jurassic Park came out, they were reptiles with no feathers, and now it's pretty much been decided that they would have had feathers. So I think it's evolving. It's one of those things evolving, and they're trying their best to theorize on what they could possibly have looked like.
Answer when you're.
Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, go for it.
So dinosaurs were theorized by a Freemason, and then a year or two later, they started discovering dinosaurs. Before that, with all of the stuff that's ever happened, nobody's ever bumped into a dinosaur bone, and the only dinosaurs that are ever discovered are by these Freemason archaeologists, paleontologists, whatever, are finding them, the ones that are vested in it. Every museum that has dinosaurs that you've all seen, ask the curator of the museum, are those the real bones? And they'll tell you, no, they're not. The real bones are locked up, and most, real people that are studying paleontology, they're not even allowed to see them.
No,
on the webpage stoplookthink.com, there's a tab called dinosaurs under hoaxes, I believe. And there's some videos there. Take your time, watch the videos, and you too will know that dinosaurs never existed.
No, it's another case file for us because we've been asked to talk about it, and I've never really looked into it. So yeah, we'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, you know what? When I first heard it, I said bullshit. I was right like you guys, no problem. I was like, come on, don't take my fucking dinosaurs away too. You already took my planets away, and that's not fun. And now, Star Wars is dead. It's all nonsense. It's all programming.
Okay, one more question about space, just because I just came across this not that long ago. The Japanese Himawari 8 weather satellite that takes photos from 22,000 miles out.
Every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Every 10 minutes.
Thoughts?
That's we found the archive on that. There's a YouTube channel called Archer Sage, ARCHER space SAGE. He walks you through these files and shows you 100% that they faked that they're all fakes. They're composite overlays put into Photoshop and turned into a ball. They're complete and total nonsense. He also has software.
How do you take so much credence in that guy? What's his story?
Well, it doesn't matter. We actually showed him we found this archive. Jeranism actually found it. And there was too many photos to go in, so he did a video and asked people to go through it. And this guy went through it, and he's good with going through photo files and being able to analyze them. There's a program that's a photo forensic program that can take any photo and analyze its compression and tell you what camera it was taken from, right? And they took the photo. Those aren't even photos; these are literally illustrations that they're saying are from the satellite. But they took the Mars rover photos, and they're done from the Sony Coolpix 2-megapixel camera instead, pocket camera.
Okay. We get it. It's faked. We'll look into the video because we can spend a lot of time on it. We got a couple more questions though. Braden, you got one?
Shoot. Yeah.
Oh no, I'm going to ask him his top 5 after. We got some fans who are shooting us some questions.
Yeah, just a couple questions from fans.
How are fans listening to this?
No, we just have just questions on Facebook. Nothing's live at the moment. Okay, what do we got here? What about plate tectonics and volcanoes?
Who sent that question?
Annie Marie. Just curious.
Was that Annie from Orlando?
Maybe.
If it is,
so
hey Annie.
Plate tectonics on a flat Earth can work the same way, and the volcanoes can work the same way on a ball Earth. We don't know what's under. We're told on a ball Earth that they show us the cross section of the Earth, but no one's ever gone farther than 8 miles. They say that the center is liquid, metal, and there's no liquid metal that has magnetics. As soon as it becomes liquid, it loses its magnetics. So none of that can be reproduced in the lab.
The solid core is actually nickel, though. I think, isn't it solid nickel core?
But
that's what they think.
I'll agree that we don't know.
We don't know. Yeah.
We don't know. So on a flat Earth, to me, plate tectonics, make sense too. Was there ever a Pangea? I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay, just on that same question, is there because there must be in a big community, there must be certain people who just okay, I'm going to tackle plate tectonics and volcanoes on a flat Earth. How would that work? Is there a guy that does that? Did you have a big group of people who everyone has a job they're trying to research, or is this it's a blanket research thing?
There's people that have different fortes. The plate tectonics one, I know that people have touched on it, but the answer is we're all speculating. It would be the same. There's 3 categories things fall into: works on a ball, works on a flat Earth, or works on both, or doesn't work on both. It doesn't exist. Those are the only 3 categories it falls in. Nothing falls into the works on a ball only. Nothing. You'll find that out.
Okay.
As you go, you'll see nothing falls into that basket.
Okay. We got another one from Tris Monroe. He's talking about the kids who send up weather balloons with the GoPro and GPS track and go pick up the footage and shows a curve. Is that just the lens of the GoPro?
The GoPro shows a curve when it's on the ground. It shows a curve. We sent up a balloon. A flat earther by the name of Rob Skiba sent up a balloon with a pro camera, non-GoPro, spec'd out the lenses and everything. Showed how it doesn't show curve no matter how you twist it or turn it. Went up to 81,000 feet flat as can be.
But
that's 10,000 feet higher than Adam from Mythbusters, who was up in a MiG and said he saw the curve. Even though the GoPro was showing, all sorts of curves, and then he said he saw the curve, but we're up at 81,000 feet, no curve.
Now, my question with that is, so even with that GoPro, you're going up there, and some of the ones you'll see the Earth and it's definitely a curve. I'll give you the curve of the GoPro, but you see the darkness of space and the edge of the Earth. But
it's dark up there.
Is that just because you can't see the light? Is that because you're saying the light, that's just not where light's hitting?
So the light doesn't travel forever. The light fluoresces, the sun, the electric sun fluoresces the nitrogen in the sky, and nitrogen fluoresces blue. So when the electric sun goes up into the sky like a big Tesla coil, it fluoresces the sky. So if the sun rises in the morning and you're on one side of your house and you go to the backside of your house, you can still read the newspaper out there when the sun is just rising, but it's blocked by your entire house. And that's because the daylight is coming from the electric sky. The sunlight is on the other side of the house.
Okay. One more question. During at nighttime, why can't I send up a camera, let's say a 360 camera up, I don't know, 30 miles and see the sun?
You can sometimes, but the sun, again, you have to go super high. It depends on where you are, what time of the year. But there was a flight from California to Germany where they were taking the polar route, didn't go over the pole, and the sun was it was going away from the plane, and it went around. It never set, and it came back around as they went over the polar route because he stayed within the distance to be able to see the sun.
Okay, but I'm just saying, like any night, any night you could do it, and you could. That's an experiment anyone could check.
So a lot of ball earthers say it proves the ball in Dubai. You watch the sunset and then quickly go up to the top of that tall building and you can watch the sunset again. Well, that just proves that's the same on a flat earth, and it's the same what you're saying. The sun could set, and then if you get up and go higher up, you'll see the sun again. That's absolutely true.
Yeah, but middle of the night, you should be able to see the sun. That's what I'm saying.
No, that's not true because it gets eclipsed by many things. Again, on my channel, DITRH,
we'll look more into it.
There's a sun setting playlist. Watch those videos and you'll see how you can't see the sun after a certain distance.
Okay, like I'm sure we could we brush. That's the basics, right? That's the base. I'm sure there's a million theories on it.
You shouldn't believe anything I'm telling you, and even if you do, you have to check it out, and it takes time. This is, to understand the world that we live in, you can't do it in 140 characters like Twitter, the Twitter mind, I call it. And after 140 characters, most people are fluoridated, GMO'd, and vaccinated into stupidity. But once you...
Are you vaccinated?
I had a lot less vaccinations than you guys, and if I had a kid today, he wouldn't get a single vaccination. I have friends that have kids that have no vaccinations. They're the smartest, healthiest kids I've ever seen.
Yeah, I don't know. Vaccinations is something I never looked into it so much. But
vaccines are the only purpose for vaccines, including polio, is to make you sick. That is the only purpose.
Well, I was going to say to make a lot of money, but
yeah, well, if they keep you sick, the Rockefellers make a lot of money on their chemical-based health system or sick system.
So, Dave, before we end here, I just wanted, other than flat Earth, round Earth, can you give me what are your top favorite conspiracies? What are the ones you like to get into with people?
Let me ask you guys a question, and I'll tell you right or wrong, and you can figure it out from there. How many people died at the Boston Marathon?
Yeah, I'm actually not familiar with the conspiracy, to be honest, at all.
The Boston Marathon bombing.
I know the bombing, but I've never really looked.
It's been on our list. It's been on our list for a while. We haven't dived into it. I know.
How many people do you think died?
Dozen? I have no idea.
How many people got hurt?
100?
Okay, the answer is 0. Okay,
no one got hurt.
It was a complete and total hoax. How about let's go a little closer?
Complete. Well, not even a false flag, just complete hoax.
Right. There's a difference between a hoax and a false flag.
Yeah.
How many buildings fell in New York on 9/11?
3.
Well, I think they ended up demolishing the whole complex, I think, in the end.
7 buildings fell. There's a video on my channel called Forget Building 7, Building 6, The Smoking Gun. Building 6, the entire center of the building disappeared, leaving the outer walls standing. Disappeared. There was nothing in the building.
Is that something to do with the directed energy?
It very well could be, and I'm not making that conclusion, but what I'm saying is what they told us happened on 9/11 was complete, total nonsense.
It's bullshit.
9/11, is like, definitely. But
how about Orlando Pulse nightclub shooting?
I definitely got into that one a little bit for the weird crisis actor videos that I've seen that look just so bogus.
Total hoax. There's on that Stop Look Think channel page. There's tons of videos there. The recent Nice truck attack, fake. One of my favorites is one called the Cassidy Stay family murder. This teenage girl, her 4 brothers and sisters, mother and father were murdered right in front of her. And 2 days later, she's in a parade getting her nails done, quoting Harry Potter, laughing. It's
maybe that was her way to deal with the shock. But anyways, so they're not even like, I agree that I always thought like they're false flags, but complete hoax. Like, it's tough for me because like, man, it looks like people got hurt, right? It looks like people died.
Nobody got.
So what's okay? We'll look into it.
So that's 3. 2 more. What are the other 2 ones you like?
NASA is nothing more than a Hollywood studio, and a shitty one at that.
I love that.
Check out the NASA Lies page on stoplookthink.com.
What do you think? Do you think Stanley Kubrick work hid hints in his movies that he was working for them?
He might have helped them. That's just a small part of it. Dinosaurs is another one. Oh, yeah. No nuclear bombs. They never existed. If you look at the nuclear bomb picture, that video they show us all, which is the little house that just shatters and the trees bend back. Watch it again. It's a miniature. It's a model set. It's a tiny little modeled set.
So what happened is, do you think Hiroshima and what happened there then?
So Hiroshima and Nagasaki were just giant TNT bombs. 3 days later, the train was running and electricity was back on, and people never moved out. They're still there, and we have a higher cancer rate than they do. Okay, and all of the buildings that had fireproofing didn't collapse. How does that work with a nuclear bomb?
You know what? I never even thought to think of that one. But
I was always curious of the radiation aspect.
I could definitely get on that. It was all propaganda, especially to I would have thought at the time to try to outflex the Russians leading into the Cold War. But now it's just, if it's just the you could say on your end, it's just to increase the fear.
It's keep everyone in fear. And a nuclear bomb, the world destroying.
It's going to end everything.
It's complete and total nonsense. It's not real. There are no nukes, and there's a no nuke page on that website also.
Right on.
We'll have to check that out. That is stop.
The Times Square car crash recently, Ariana Grande concert bombing hoax, Sandy hoax.
I was going to say Sandy Hook's been popping up in the news again with Alex Jones again here. But
such Alex Jones controlled opposition to keep people halfway to the truth and still believing the nonsense.
Alex Jones also testified that he lies in a show just for listeners.
I can't listen to Alex Jones. It's insane.
But he's a complete fool. And Joe Rogan admitted that he would sell out, and he sold out. Check out my DITRH channel. One of the recent videos is Joe Rogan sells out. Probably 5 or 10 videos back. Check it out. All the videos on my channel, by the way, are under 5 minutes. So for the short attention span.
Oh, it's perfect. Our fans are going to eat those up.
Yeah. DITRH stands for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole YouTube page. Watch those videos. Go back and take your time. Watch the last 20, 30, 40 videos. And I guarantee your life will change. And once you take the red pill, your steak and mansion is gone.
Dave, again, thanks. You got anything else to plug? You got Twitter, Facebook?
So in November, there's the Flat Earth International Conference in North Carolina. My YouTube channel is the best place to see the videos I make. And there's a lot going on. We put up a Flat Earth billboard outside of the Philly airport. It made the news. It's going all over the place. 60-foot billboard that said Research Flat Earth. And it's making some waves. And we got a whole bunch of other billboards going up. And Flat Earth, when you realize the importance of it, it really shows you that all of this other stuff, which is important. Oh, the other thing is chemtrails, geoengineering. I heard you guys make a comment on that's a weird one. But they're spraying our skies. There's no doubt.
Oh,
the question
100%.
is,
I've heard the videos. Right. I've seen the patents, but not every plane in the sky is a chemtrail.
I don't think
not every, but now David Keith and his geoengineers at Harvard University have announced that they're doing it starting in the spring of 2017. Well, guess what? We're past that. They're out there, and the chemtrailing in the last couple of weeks has been worse than I've ever seen it. And people have just got their phones, their noses stuck in their scrying mirrors, and have no idea what they're doing. They don't see anything.
Yeah, there's definitely a good case file there for sure.
Dave, again, I just got to thank you for coming on. You're probably our most well-spoken guest we've ever had on, and it's been great listening to you theorize with us here and inform our listeners.
I appreciate it, guys. It's good talking to you guys.
Yeah, Dave, we put you through the ringer a little bit, which was good, and we love the way you handled the questions. Right? No one's. I got a little mad there a little bit, but that's expected, right? And
nobody likes having their ball taken away. It's easy to fool somebody.
I still got my ball, but
it's easy to fool somebody. It's harder to convince them they've been fooled. But what I'm saying is, take your time, go through the videos. ODD 24/7 Flat Earth Live will blow you away, and it'll lead you down all the other channels, all the other suggested links. The mods in there will help you if you ask a question, and all you have to do is take the time to look, and then you will see.
Perfect.
Right on, brother. Appreciate it.
Stop drinking fluoridated water. Get a distiller
and
drink.
Good news for us in BC. We don't fluoridate water since the last 30 years here, I think now. But
nice.
All right. So yeah, that's that. We're gonna have to wrap it up now. So as we again, Dave, thanks for coming on. Awesome guest, probably the best guest we've ever had on.
Much better than the last.
Yeah, you've definitely represented the flat Earth very well here. I think anyone listening will definitely start looking at videos. Other than that, look up for another case file coming in a couple weeks. And as always, keep those eyes on the skies.